Hey guys, it's Elliott Booth and this is the Tattoo Removal Australia show. Say goodbye to the myths, confusions and misconceptions of the tattoo removal industry and say hello to real information, real clients and real results. Welcome to the TRA show with myself and my beautiful co-host Rita Da Silva, where we take you beyond the trend. What is up guys? Welcome back to the TRA show. Your host, Elliott. Today is a bit of an interesting episode. As you may notice, it is myself. And I'm joined with Caleb and Emily in the background, but I don't have Rita with me. Today, we're trialing a new video type, for lack of a better word, where I basically want to just spit some facts. I haven't come up with a creative title yet. Tattoo removal facts seems a bit boring, but a common theme when I treat clients all day, I hear the most common questions, and I want to spend the occasional episode talking myths, debunking myths, speaking about tattoo removal facts. So today we're going to give it a run. Bear with me. Please, as always, though, if you enjoy the show, if I give you value, if I make you laugh, I don't know if I'll be making you laugh in this episode. Please click the Google review link below. It helps me grow. So to kick things off, this week has been a very exciting week. As a lot of you know, it's the very first week the Gold Coast Clinic has been opened. And we opened with a bit of a bang, if I'm honest with you. Because I spend 4 days a week in the Brisbane clinic, it was only 3 weeks that I was open. 3 days that I was open this week, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. And I'm very pleased to report that I had 12 clients come through, 8 of which were new clients, which honestly exceeded my expectation, which was really cool. So pat on the back, Elliott. It wasn't all in vain. Now that we are a week into the new head office and the new Gold Coast Clinic, a bit of my attention has come onto the podcast and trying to make things a little bit more exciting, and try to give you a little bit more value, hence the tattoo removal facts episode that I'm doing today. I have picked 3 topics that I find commonly asked and I think will be really valuable and insightful for you as a tattoo removal consumer to hear. The very first one is unhappy with previous progress. And if you're a tattoo removal consumer, a client listening, there's a pretty high chance that you'll be able to relate to this. I often get people that have had numerous treatments before elsewhere come to me wanting to continue their removal journey, and they have been unsatisfied or they are unsatisfied with the progress to date. It's a really common question and it's a tricky one that I have to unpack with the client. I somewhat have to walk on eggshells because I need to be really honest here. There's a few factors, just like everything in tattoo removal, there's a few factors that could be influencing why you're unhappy with your progress to date. As much as I would love to jump up and down and say, oh, it must be the person you're using, it's not always the case. There is a fair chance that the tattoo itself could be the reason you're unhappy with your progress. I find that when tattoos are brand new, when they're within a couple of months old, they fade a lot slower than what people expect. And I do believe it falls on the tattoo removal provider's shoulders to inform and give insightful information prior to starting to help alleviate any unhappy progress feelings. So I think a bit of that does fall on miseducation, but there is a fair chance that your tattoo may be the reason why you're seeing slower results, or you may be unhappy with the progress. Other than the tattoo being really new, it can be something else. It can be the different colors, of course. We all know by now that some colors remove really effectively and others don't remove so effectively. So it could be the tattoo. It could be a number of those things. It could be the age. It could be the color. The second thing that it could be, if you're unhappy with your progress, it could be the laser itself. Now, not all lasers are equal. I'm like a broken record on this podcast, and I'm just trying to drill into you that when you say the word tattoo removal, that's a service, and that service is not equal. It's not a level playing field because there's different devices, different machines. The simple term tattoo removal is not equal. You're never really comparing pairs to pairs. Like what I talk about when people compare prices, it's not a very good indication that you're going to find the best provider if you go with the lowest price. You very well could have the wrong machine or a less effective machine for your tattoo removal. So there's a fair bit to unpack. There's a lot of moving parts. When a client comes to me unhappy with their progress, I say, look, it could be the tattoo. It could be the laser being used for the tattoo removal. Third thing, it could be the person using the laser. And I have to walk on eggshells because I'm sure there's a lot of tattoo removalists that know what they're doing. And I'm also certain for a fact that there's a lot that don't know what they're doing. So there's one of three things. It's the tattoo itself, it is the laser, or it's the person using the laser. And as I always say to my trusty clients, there's one way to find out. Let's take a photo. Let's do a treatment. Let's allow enough time, and the proof's in the pudding. Photos are really important for a number of reasons. The first being motivation. So in this instance, when a client's unhappy with the progress, you need to understand that they've been looking at this tattoo for quite literally months, if not years, unhappy with the progress. Because tattoo removal doesn't happen overnight, the best thing you can do is take a photo, because in a few months' time, you can put it side by side, and that is the real answer. When you look at the tattoo a few months later, you might notice a little bit of fading, but because you look at it every day, it is extremely hard to be able to draw conclusive results without previous photos. So I always recommend take photos, proofs in the pudding. When my experience with clients with unhappy progress of their treatment, honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's misinformation. So although it could be shitty machines, it could be not so effective tattoo removalists, a lot of it is educating the client. Now, I know a lot of you guys are clients, you are consumers, so I'm not saying you're at fault, but I do believe a lot of the fault falls on the tattoo removal provider for not telling you exactly and clearly what to expect. A lot of the times the progress is fine, but it's not what the client expected. It's taking longer than what they expected, which is their lack of knowledge. And whose job is it to teach them? It's the tattoo removalists. I know that's a little bit to unpack, but a really frequent issue that I have, or that I resolve with clients that come in, is they're unhappy with their progress. If you're a tattoo removal provider, I recommend you don't just instantly put down the previous provider for professional reasons, obviously, but also you never truly know. It's so easy to say, oh yeah, we can do a better job, possibly, but it could also be a very deep, very stubborn, very new tattoo, which then you in fact will not do a better job. So that's a little hack and a tip for my tattoo removal professionals out there. On that note, 2 months' time, Lasco, the training app, is dropping, where I'm going to give you some nuggets and some gems. It'll be available in the app stores once I learn how to create an app developer account, which is a nightmare. All right, so that's the very first one. Number 2, training in different states. This actually segues that app comment that I just made really, really well. I know I have done an episode on this before, but for any new listeners, different states in Australia require different levels of qualification and training to be a tattoo removalist. What that means, and don't quote me exactly, I'm not sure on all the states, but I can tell you in New South Wales, in Victoria, I'm not sure what other ones, you don't need a license at all, nada, which, you know, if you are listening to this and you don't know how to do tattoo removal, never have, pick up a laser, you're qualified to do tattoo removal in New South Wales. It's not okay. Which, from a provider of tattoo removal that has fallen deeply in love with the craft and the industry, that is quite concerning and upsetting for me to know that it's the Wild West in some states, which is why I am developing the app. Not just for, like, oh yeah, monetization, how good you can teach people. Like, yes, the ultimate goal is to make a living from what I do and my knowledge. But the real goal is so that there's not customers in those states having terrible experiences left with scars, and this comes from some experience that I have with clients that come in the clinic as well, is you think, oh, Australia, first world country, seems pretty legit. Nobody even asks me if I have a tattoo removal license or what the education is. They just come into what looks like an established clinic. They're in Australia. They're not in Thailand or something that, nothing against Thailand, but it makes you automatically think of standards. Australia doesn't have that. So people just see a nicely fitted out place. They see somebody with confidence, which I hate to say it, that doesn't necessarily mean that person knows what they're doing. I've met a lot of people over my time with confidence that don't know what they're doing. My ultimate goal, if you said, Elliott, what do you want to do in 20 years? What does success look like for you? I will tell you, success looks like a level of standard. I want to produce a level of qualification, whether it's a LASCO training, whatever it is. I wish that I can provide customer security and consumer confidence in knowing that their tattoo removal provider is backed by my knowledge and my education. I know it sounds wishful thinking, but I think it's achievable, and I also think that the industry needs it. You could argue the fact, and I've devil advocate this plenty of times, there's other industries that don't have mentors or providers like offering this knowledge, and I understand that. Other risky, like cosmetic injectors and stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of highly qualified cosmetic injectors, but there's also a lot that aren't. So like my argument to that could be, hey, if you're a really good cosmetic injector, why don't you start teaching people how to be better? Give them a competitive edge, because there's two ways to frame this. You can look at it and go, all right, I'm potentially, if you're insecure and lack the confidence, you look at this and go, oh, well, I'm just going to equip my competition with knowledge that they can beat me with. And it's a pretty insecure mindset. When you approach something like this, you could very well be offering, in my case, tattoo removal, but maybe in your case, customers of injectables across Australia, a safer solution, right? It's a little bit bigger than giving away your secrets. And that's actually my sales pitch with LASCO, which is the training app. I am giving you the industry secrets and tips that tattoo removalists and laser companies and their salesmen don't want you to know. On that note, I just need to plant something in my head about a new laser that I'll talk about soon. I'm willing to tell my neighbor how to be a better tattoo removalist. And if they're in competition with me, cool, that's fine. As long as the tattoo removal standard and clients' experience and results improve, then my mission's done. So in Queensland, you have to have a Queensland Radiation Health license. Tattoo Removal Australia Academy on the Gold Coast does that training for tattoo removalists in Queensland. There is other states like WA, which you used to have to be a doctor. Now you can be a nurse, or you can do your 100 clinical hours. They're sort of reining it back a bit. Because Western Australia, it used to be overkill. I've got clients that live in WA because it was so expensive, because of all the legislation. So please know, as a tattoo removal consumer, do your homework. I know I'm a broken record talking about this stuff, but just because a clinic looks established, it looks legit, it doesn't mean it is. Make sure your individual tattoo removal operator has experience, has training. In states that don't have a level of standard, you really need to look into results and reviews and maybe even some forums, because that's there's not a level of competency to go off. Different colors. When I talk about these topics, I kind of have the realization and the epiphany that the entire time it comes back to education. And maybe, I've never thought about this, but maybe subconsciously that's why I want to do the training app so bad. But just looking at the topics I want to talk about, man, the ADHD is kicking in is real. Unhappy with progress, training in different states. And the third topic is, I already can't remember it wholly, is different colors. 3 topics, 3 very, very common concerns and questions. And I feel like the common denominator for all those 3 topics is education. There's a real theme and a pattern that I think education can solve a lot of this misconception and bad experiences, and would help the tattoo removal industry a lot. The third topic, different colors, that is, I got a story for you. That is entirely up to the tattoo removal operator, the provider of that service, to know what they are capable of, what their ability is, what their laser's ability is, and to accurately and clearly pass that on to the tattoo removal consumer. I will never forget, and actually Emily that's sitting here, we were shooting some content when this lady came in. She went and had treatments on a couple tattoos, one in particular, a blue star on her wrist. One treatment, scarred horrifically, irreversible scarring. And I did some digging into, what may have caused this and what was wrong. And what I uncovered was the tattoo removal provider had a machine, that simply is not capable of removing blue ink. The wavelength, it's impossible. It will never happen. She has a better chance using a cheese grater and cutting the tattoo out. Like, this laser is not capable of removing blue. And the scariest part of this was when this client was explaining that the tattoo removal operator was shocked and surprised, and because of the lack of reaction, turned it up to treat it harder, hence the scarring. I see time and time again, week after week, scarring. And in this instance, it became really clear to me that the tattoo removal provider didn't know what the machine could do. And I do put a bit of blame on the laser providers and the salesmen, because they do tell you that this is a multi-color tattoo removal laser, can remove all colors, and it's simply not true. So that's one cause of the problem. And the second cause of the problem is maybe the naiveness or the ignorance of the tattoo removal provider, whether they don't do their research, they're lacking, lack of knowledge, they're not as informed as they could be. I just think that there is room to improve in the tattoo removal industry. And when I say I think, I fucking know. I see it every week, every day. I see damaged skin. I see misled people. I see unhappy people. And tattoo removal doesn't have to be this horror story. But what has to happen for that is the tattoo removal providers to stand up and to say, I'm willing to be better and do better. And you know what? Yeah, it's going to cost money to educate yourself. But I guarantee you that money is going to come back tenfold when you have the education and the knowledge and the experience to be able to guide tattoo removal clients through their removal successfully. So I know I sound like a grumpy old man in an industry that I love. And it's not all doom and gloom. Like, I'm sure there's tattoo removal clients listening going, holy shit, this sounds terrifying. And yeah, it is. But today I really just want to stress that there's the common theme, the common denominator of all of these topics. I didn't even realize this until I was speaking it out loud, sitting here. It all comes back to education. So I think it's so important that tattoo removal providers, and this is a sales pitch for the training app now that I'm saying it out loud, which it is, but fuck it, it's there for a reason. It's time to do better. It's time to be better. I'm here to tell you the knowledge and the experience exists because I'm going to give it to you. Thank you, guys. Today was a bit of a whirlwind episode. It's going to be interesting looking back. I don't even know how long it's been, maybe 20 minutes. Yeah, I feel like that's good enough. Just to recap, sorry, I got emails coming out of my eyeballs. It's the last time I bring my phone here. Unhappy with progress, training in different states and different colors. Just to recap on these things, if you're unhappy with your progress, it is not necessarily you, but it very well could be. It's either the tattoo, it's either the laser, or the person using the laser. So if you're unhappy with your progress, I recommend you seek the opinion of another provider, making sure that provider is reputable and they address all three of these concerns, and they don't just try to tell you it's one, because it's impossible to know until you do the treatment and find out the issue. On that, it's often time. Sometimes you go, well, how long have you been doing between treatments? And they go 6 weeks. And you're like, well, fuck, that's the issue. Stop. Just wait longer between treatments for your body to actually get the results. Training in different states. Guys, I don't really know what the best advice is here for like a direct call to action. I think real results. I think there's clinics around the place that don't have before and afters. And I think that's a real concern. So make sure there's real before and afters. Make sure there's real clients going there. I'd hate to be an old man, but look at the reviews. That sort of stuff doesn't lie. Your gut's always right. So different states in Australia have different levels of requirements and competency. Please understand that. Number 3, not all lasers are equal. Different wavelengths remove different colors. Some are capable of removing colors and some are not. And some people don't know the difference, which is all sorts of fucked up. A couple other things to know: white ink can never be removed. Not many people say this. I believe not many people know this. Lasers cannot remove white ink. Second to that, I've only seen one yellow tattoo remove in my 12 years of doing tattoo removal because the pigment is so light. Guys, like hair removal, when you have blonde hair, the laser can't remove blonde hair, but it removes black hair great. Exactly the same science. Energy loves dark pigment. Put a black car in the sun, it gets hot as shit. Same thing. The ink, the black ink in your skin gets hot, explodes. The black hair follicle absorbs the hair, burns out, and the hair removes. Same thing. White ink, and I could argue yellow ink, is not removable. The amount of clients that I have come to me halfway through their removal and they're not even aware of this, which is super concerning. So please just know that little fun fact. Sorry to go off track. Whites cannot remove no matter what you do. Sorry to tell you that. And somebody needs to tell you that. And I think that's it. That's enough for me ranting today. Wait, I remembered more. You thought you were going to go. I'm very excited to announce, and I got word today that we are ordering a new laser. Yes. I like to think that I do what I do well, and I'm very sorry to say that we're about to do it a whole lot better. This laser's got to get built in Italy, and it's going to come over. So yes, it's a Quantra. I'm not going to tell you what Quantra though. You got to join the app if you want to learn that stuff. It's going to take about 2 or 3 months to get made and sent here from Italy. I'm excited. So we're always moving forward, always evolving, always stressed out of my brain because there's so much going on, but it's all to give better tattoo removal service and results to this industry and our lovely clients. So that's happening. What else? I think that's about it. Yeah. And I can, now that I chatted to Caleb, we can see cats out of the bag. In the head office, Gold Coast HQ, not yet, but soon we're going to build our own podcast studio. We love working with Caleb, so he's still going to produce it for us. But I ordered like this big sign, this neon sign where it's like the Elliott booth show with lasers coming out of my eyes and shit, which is like, it's ridiculous. Thanks, Em. It is, but it's cool. And it's cool as shit, and nobody does that stuff. So within the coming months, I kind of spent all the money getting the clinic and the new laser and stuff. So we're just going to, slow things down. But the goal is we're going to build our own podcast studio, really cool setup, and try to do a few a week. I feel like this episode's been weirdly cool, and I'm going to go back and have a look through it. I was mentioning to Caleb just before, watching certain podcasters, aka Theo Von, do podcasts solo it's like almost looks like psychopathic to to like, you're like, how can somebody just sit there and talk to themselves for 30 minutes? Weirdly enough, I like this. So read between the lines. I think when you are talking about something that you like, I can't fuck this up. Like I'm not faking it. I know this stuff. So I think that's the key. So I might do a few more of these when I realize a name to call it and I work out a title. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. If I made you laugh, if I gave you knowledge, and like, fuck, we know I did. So please leave a Google review. It helps me get clients. I am slowly dominating the Gold Coast. So sorry to anybody that does tattoo removal there, but you're welcome to join me because we're moving forward and I would love your assistance. Thank you again, guys. Have a great week and I'll see you next episode.